Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing right out there. So today I want to talk about fake MOTs. We talked about fake CBTs that were available through TikTok and stuff like that recently. Well now, here is your fake MOT. And it is a problem. Now I've heard about this quite a bit over a while, because I've seen a few stories. However, I haven't ever had any direct connection, and when I talk about something I tend to have a direct connection with it before I get into it. And I got a message the other day that I'm going to leave anonymous. But basically they said to me have you seen about the growth in fake MOTs? I recently sold a car which didn't have an MOT, had a fair amount of damage to it, sort of stuff that had to be done to get it through its MOT, a lot of stuff. He knew it was a lot of work to get that car MOT'd. 1 hour, one single hour after he sold it to the person, it had a fresh MOT with 0 advisories. He knew that was impossible for that car. So this person's bought the car, whacked an MOT on it, a fake one, immediately, and is then obviously gone on to sell it to someone else, which means that someone out there buys a car with a fresh MOT and no advisories, drives it along, and then discovers there's something seriously wrong with it. Now, this isn't just bad for the case of, you've bought a car in good faith you thought was a good machine because it's got a fresh MOT on it. It's the one thing people really look for. And then you find out that actually, no, it's completely fake. And as it turns out, this crime is either being reported and dealt with a lot more now, or it's got a lot worse. There's an article by the DVLA, I can't remember, it was a government website thing. They basically talked about fake MOTs, and they said about how in 2017 to 2018 there was 300 and something cases of this going on. Why have they done this? Or is this... No, do not tell me this is dumping. That looks too neatly done to be fly tipping, but oh my god, it could be. In 2017, 2018, there was 300 cases of them, finding false MOTs, fake MOTs. In 2021 to 2022, they found 1,300. A massive increase. And in the same years, the prosecutions went up by 900%. As I say, is this previously that it was going on at the same rate and they just weren't catching it? Or is it that they're now doing it more because people realise they could get away with it, and it's only now that they're starting to prosecute them? It's hard to know which way around this is, but the point is, there is a major issue going on with fake MOTs. So if you buy a bike or a car that's got an MOT on it, you really can't trust that thing. Now the thing is, with MOT testers, there's an amount of discretion there, and everyone generally knows an MOT tester who may be a little bit more strict and someone's a bit more lax. And I'm not talking about ignoring actual real safety issues. I mean, things like one MOT tester would say that the stock exhaust on some Honda Fireball 8000 was advisory noisy, even though... Is that a cat? It's a kitten. They were kittens. Why are they little kittens playing in the middle of a... They're not... Normally kittens in help normally come running out to you, not running off, although obviously a loud bite. They looked fairly healthy. Hopefully they're just from a local house or something that's behind one of these bushes I can't see. Sorry, where was I? Yes, as one MOT tester might say, exhaust advisory, excessively noisy. And another one might be that sounds great. That's the discretion thing. But this isn't a discretion thing. We're not talking about people passing I know it needs a little bit of welding underneath there. It's not much, it's not structural. Can you just put it through and I'm going to get it done when I get paid in a couple of months? It's not like that. Not that I'm saying that's okay. We are talking not even having to take your car to the garage and they will just write you out an MOT, done. Off you go. Which is how they can advertise this through things like TikTok, and it makes little bloody sense because it's so traceable. Every time someone does an MOT, their name goes against it, their MOT tester number. So you're literally just leaving a paper trail behind you. So then the question is, do people ever get arrested for it? Yes, they do, and they get prosecuted too. I've got on a piece of paper in my pocket, because there's no way I'm going to remember all these details. I'll give you a breakdown of what people receive for doing these things. Okay, there's a couple of other bits that I wrote down here I should mention. Over 300 testers have been banned. They can only be banned up to a maximum of 5 years, so after that they can go back and do testing again. Cars have been found with no brake pads, no anti-roll bars, and huge amounts of rust to the point the car's literally falling apart that have been passed with no advisory, so it's pretty bad. Okay, so here's a couple of cases. Someone pleaded guilty to 152 fake MOTs. He was given 18 months suspended for 2 years, 240 hours of unpaid work plus a 5k fine, which means, well, he's going to get banned from doing MOTs. So he can't do another MOT, so he can't really do the same crime, although obviously there's many things that come under that. Yeah, so suspended for 2 years. So as long as he doesn't do that for the next 2 years, he's let off. Another one, over 3 months, this guy did 47 fake MOTs. None of them went to his garage. He got 36 weeks, suspended for 2 years, and a full ban of 5 years. One of these, by the way, coincidentally, from the link I'll put in the description, which is the government's talking about this, one of the cases is local to me in Havant, like there. Okay, here's another case of 809 incidents. They were charged on 12. Now, obviously, the thing is, you have to, for every single case, you have to go after them and prove it, and that's a lot of time for the police and money, and this is over an MOT, which might not necessarily be really that dangerous, depends on the car, blah, blah. You can see why, with limited resources and funds, why they're not really following this too much, but now it's becoming a problem, they kind of have to. This person was given 8 months per offence, that's 8 months times 12, suspended for 12 months, 150 hours of unpaid work, and £2,250 fine, and a maximum 5-year ban. Now, the reason this guy was so prolific in numbers and why he may have not been done for all of them is because he claimed that he was being coerced, his family were being threatened into doing it. He wasn't even getting paid to do it. In some of the cases, he was having to actually pay to put it through. So, you know, it's a blackmail case at that point. So of those 3 cases that includes hundreds of cars that could have, you know, caused an accident and killed someone out there, that they just put through, none of them served any time for it. Now, admittedly, I doubt... No, see, that's my old brain talking. I doubt any of them are dumb enough to do it again. Wrong, I reckon they're all dumb enough to do it again. They will get re-registered in 5 years, and... no, I can't see people being that dumb, but my God, people are dumb. The thing is, if it's someone getting their own car through its MOT, that's one thing, because it's them that's at risk apart from the other people they could hit. But when it's someone, you know, you buy a car in good faith, and then it turns out it's actually a complete lemon. You used to believe that if it got an MOT, it was all right. I mean, okay, it could have been clocked, it could have had a few things hidden, but it was somewhat of a bill of health. You can't trust it anymore. Now, I've not heard about this happening with any bikes, but I'm sure it has. And the fact that there are now, you know, people on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, you know, supplying these ghost MOTs, as they call them, it's a thing. And I talk about things like this that happen in the motoring world because it will all come to affect us somehow if it's not under control. Remember, really, it's never the person that does the crime that seems to actually pay for it. It's everyone else because of the repercussions of that. What happens to the cars they've discovered have got fake MOTs is they contact the owners and say, hey, you don't have an MOT anymore, it was fraudulent, you're going to need to get another one before you can drive again. And I'm sure they're keeping an eye out for them. Now, they mentioned in this that one of the ways they're helping control this is through intelligent means, or intelligent surveillance, which basically means ANPR cameras, you know, number plate recognition cameras, wherever. Maybe the ULEZ cameras do it too, I don't know. But it's a way of basically going, wait, this registration's on the road, it shouldn't do because it's not got a valid MOT or whatever. And then they send you a fine through the post. Again, as I was talking about in my last video, these sorts of scenarios, little crimes like this, lead to more surveillance, more automated fines, and more cases where maybe you forgot to do your MOT and it's getting done tomorrow, but you shouldn't have really driven it, but you're just going to not nip down somewhere, you'll get a fine. Now, I'm not saying you should do that, you shouldn't. You should be ahead of the game and get your MOT done before the other one runs out fully. But you know what I'm saying? You know, I grew up in the 90s, and back then it seemed like there was a lot more lenience given to the public, basically because the police were there to be lenient and they were considerate and they had the choice to, you know, see common sense as something like, you know, no harm, no foul. So what is the takeaway from this video? If you buy a car, maybe buy it from someone reputable, but then maybe someone reputable is also doing this to get cars through. Know your consumer rights around buying cars and the guarantees you have with them. You know, private sales and stuff do remove most of your rights, but there are a few rights remaining. I think it's to do with selling something in bad faith, as in if you knew something was broken when you sold it. I think that might be something, can't remember exactly. I mean, one way I suppose is to make sure you use a dealer that does MOTs themselves, because if they're reputable, they're going to make sure that their MOTs are reputable, because they don't want, you know, they're selling the bike, they're MOTing themselves. That's a good way of screwing yourself very quickly. But then maybe people will do that because that gives them a way of, like, you know, covering stuff up. If you've got any stories about buying a bike or a car that had an MOT and then you found loads of stuff on it which was broken, and clearly old broken stuff, you know, like stuff that's rusted out, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, how wasn't that picked up? You may have had a fake MOT. Let me know in the description. Description in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and if you want to help support this channel so I can bring you more news and details and things to think about, motorcycle related or not, then do that through Patreon. Links in the description. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.